Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about the match between Barcelona versus Valencia, a match that will be played on September 14th on Sunday. It's also going to be held in the Johan Cruyff Stadium, which has a capacity of 6,000 people. So there's not going to be a lot of people, but you better bet that it is still going to be very loud, very enthusiastic, very supportive. And that is why many of us here are very much excited. I believe that Barcelona will come into this match fully firing, regardless whether we were going to play in the Spotify Camp Nou or anywhere else. It does not matter. Barcelona will get the job done. Our record against Valencia has been tremendous. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. But first, let's talk about Barcelona's current form. In La Liga, we so far have 2 wins and 1 draw, with 7 points accumulated, and we're currently sitting in 4th place. So we had a 3-0 win against Mallorca, a 3-2 win against Levante, which was a comeback win, and then a 1-1 tie against Rayo Vallecano. A very disappointing performance, I would say, one of the worst that we have seen under Hansi Flick, and Flick was well aware of that by stating that there should be no egos, that there should be no selfishness, that we need to improve on top of what we did last season. And so we have scored a total of 7 goals but conceded 3, averaging 2.3 goals and 21 shots per 90 minutes with nearly 70% of the possession. So as of right now, Barcelona are on a decent run. It's not the best. We're still unbeaten, but we are far from our best. And we're going to have to rely on the players that we currently do have, which does lead me towards the injury news, because there has been a couple of injuries that has happened over the past 3 to 4 weeks. For example, Marc-Andre Ter Stegen, he's out for sure for the next 4 to 5 months. With Gavi, he has been sidelined due to a persistent right knee injury. He's going to be out until at the very least October, so most likely he will return after the October international break, and there is no surgery that is scheduled, meaning that they believe that Gavi can heal from his knee pain without any surgical procedures. It can self-heal by itself, which is good news. We're also not going to be having Alejandro Balde because he does have a hamstring injury, and then with Frenkie de Jong, he's still recovering. He's training separately, but he is for sure ruled out versus Valencia, which basically means that with Gavi and Frenkie out, we're going to have to rely on Marc Bernal, Marc Casadó, Pedri, and Dani Olmo as our midfield options. We're also going to be including Fermin Lopez, and it's highly likely that our midfield is going to be Marc Casadó partnering with Pedri in the double pivot position with Dani Olmo as the number 10. It's high time for Marc Casadó. We talked about it before. Marc Casadó, time is coming. He was in a very similar situation earlier last season when Frenkie de Jong and Pedri were out, and Marc Casadó had to partner with either Eric Garcia sometimes even partner with Pedri when he was available. Marc Bernal was also injured at that time. Now he is getting a very similar situation, and I believe that Marc Casadó will deliver. In the attack, I expect to see Ferran Torres lead the front line. I know that Lewandowski has been performing very well, and especially in the past 2 matches for Poland, but we have to carefully manage his minutes and make sure that his hamstrings don't go through another injury issue. So I do believe that our starting 11 is going to look something like this, with Joan Garcia in the goalkeeper position, Jules Koundé on the right back position, Eric Garcia and Kubarsi as our center back pairing, with Gerard Martin on the left back position. Then we have Pedri and Casadó in the double pivot position, with Yamal on the right, Olmo as the 10, Rafinha on the left, and Ferran Torres as the striker. As for Valencia, their current form is not really the best. They have only gotten 1 win, 1 draw, and 1 loss in the first 3 matches. They have accumulated a total of 4 points and currently sitting in 9th place. They have tied against Real Sociedad 1-1, lost against Osasuna 1-0, but then finished very strong before the international break by defeating Getafe 3-0. So with Valencia, they're very lucky. You know, like they signed 8 players in the past summer transfer window, and their squad is fully fit. There is no injuries being reported, and their key players continues to be Javi Guerra. They also have Diego Lopez. They also have Jose Gaya. All in all, I expect Valencia to really come in with a strong performance in a 3-4-3 formation. So going into the head-to-head record, as we discussed before, Barcelona have won 9 of their last 10 matches versus Valencia in all competitions. Barcelona are undefeated in 21 of their last 22 La Liga matches, and there is over 2.5 goals in 8 of the last 9 Barca home games versus Valencia. So expect a high goal scoring match on Sunday. As we can see here, this is going to be for you guys. It is the last 8 meetings that Barcelona and Valencia had, and Valencia has not won a single one. Valencia's last away league win at Barcelona was back on April 2016, so it has been a very long time. Now let's talk about Hansi Flick and Marcus Sorg. We're going to be stepping away from the match preview for just a bit because I want to speak about the good news, right? UEFA has suspended the sanction of Hansi Flick and Marcus Sorg after Barca's successful appeal, which means it would allow for both of them to be on the bench against Newcastle, because originally Hansi Flick and Marcus Sorg were suspended for the first match, meaning they were not going to be there on the bench. They had to be out there higher in the stands. However, even though they have greenlighted Hansi Flick and Marcus Sorg to be there for the first match against Newcastle, UEFA still stated that there is one condition. They're going to remain under a 1-year surveillance period, meaning they're going to be really looking at them to see if they make any sort of big call against one of the refs and they say like, hey, like you're wrong, this is how it should be. If they do anything like that, they're going to punish these two coaches and say that, okay, you guys are now suspended once again. Just to give you guys like bigger context on what led towards this situation, Hansi Flick was banned before and fined 20,000 euros because of what he did during the match between Barcelona and Inter Milan, which was the UCL defeat that we had. And Hansi Flick was furious on that day. But everything should be good moving forward. It's going to be a significant boost for Barcelona because it will be a tough away trip. And we're going to be talking about this match very, very soon on this YouTube channel. Now let's talk about going back to the injuries, because I do think that we really need to know what's currently going on with each of our players. Like for example, Frenkie, Marc Bernal, and Gavi. We know what's going to happen with Marc-Andre ter Stegen. Even with Alejandro Balde, his injury does not seem that serious. I expect him to come back within the next 10 to 12 days. But for Frenkie de Jong, for example, right, it has been stated that Frenkie once again trained separately from his teammates, and although he's completely ruled out for the Valencia match, his recovery is progressing slowly but steadily. Barcelona does not want to take any risk with him, so it will take a little longer before he rejoins the group. Gradually, he'll start working with the ball to be ready for his demanding stretch of the season. So that is good news. Remember, Frenkie de Jong is going through an injury that's really not that serious. Like he's not going to be out for 3 to 4 months. It's just very short term. But speaking about CDMs, I want to speak about Marc Bernal, because Marc Bernal is going to have his return very soon, meaning Marc Bernal, maybe in about 3 or 4 weeks, is going to be competing against Pedri and Frenkie de Jong. And let me tell you guys one thing, a Marc Bernal Pedri double pivot is going to feed us, bro. Like that is going to be insane. I cannot wait to see a Marc Bernal Pedri double pivot. I believe that when you have those two players together, knowing their profiles, it's going to be a very balanced midfield. And there has been people within the club stating that Marc Bernal is like a rocket right now. He's strong and at full speed. Hansi Flick even stated, I want you for 15 years, not for just one game. Hence the reason why Marc Bernal did not feature in the Joan Gamper match. Marc Bernal could have been there, but Hansi Flick said, no, just rest a little more. It's fine. We're going to be able to deal with the next remaining matches, the first 3 matches of La Liga, with no problem, because we have Frenkie, we have Gavi, we have Pedri, Casadó, we have a lot of players. Don't worry. Obviously, you know, we got like 2 or 3 players injured now, but still, we did okay in the first 3 matches. Marc Bernal never got rushed, and Hansi Flick clearly sees Bernal as a long-term solution. So expect for Marc Bernal be named in the squad and potentially play some minutes, maybe about 15 to 20 minutes. Ideally, I would like to see Marc Bernal come in for Marc Casadó and play next to Pedri, and we'll see how that does unfold. He is a player that has the capability to add more creativity besides Pedri, somebody who can help defensively with his size, right? His set pieces, the duels. He's 6'2" or 6'3". His entrance is going to be insane. We're really going to be seeing the difference. His interceptions, his anticipation, his ability to always be in the correct positions is always highly valued. Now going to Gavi, he does continue to suffer pain on his right knee, but it is getting better. Like I've stated before, the goal is for him to come back to 100% after the international break in October. The doctor made an assessment, and this is what he said. The most reasonable approach now is to wait, closely monitor the evolution, and avoid rushing into any decision. So speaking about midfielders, right, I do want to also reference Thiago Alcantara, because Thiago Alcantara has now joined Hansi Flick's staff yet again. It states here that Thiago Alcantara has returned to Barcelona as part of Flick's coaching team, mainly working with midfielders and youth players. His role emphasizes passing on experience and tactical intelligence. And this is what Thiago Alcantara stated about working with the midfielders. This is going to be the full quote. It's very interesting. The fundamentals that a midfielder in my team should have are clear. I really like, let's say, the versatility of a player who can cover different phases, both defensive and offensive, who can act as a pivot or operate as a 10. It's very important to consider the profiles available in midfield. I grew up with a 4-3-3 system, but I have always been drawn to a 4-2-3-1 tactical system. It offers that versatility where there's no need to assign specific names. Everyone can defend, everyone can attack. For me, midfielders must have that versatility I mentioned. They have to be able to be fearless on the ball, to contribute defensively, because the best defenders in the world are forwards, and they're the first to want to win the ball back to attack, and at the same time have great physicality. But that physicality shouldn't come from running aimlessly, but rather from wanting the ball, generating well-being for the team, and creating attacking situations. And then he further emphasized, a midfielder must also know how to position himself well and be in tune with the teammates around him, whether it's with a winger who moves inside, with a fullback who also moves inside these days because he has the best foot, or with the number 9. It's about interpreting different game situations, applying tactical and physical rigor when appropriate, but maintaining the freedom and magic of making final decisions based off the creativity you have at the moment. And everything that Thiago Alcantara stated is like the gospel, bro. Like, this this is exactly what I have been saying about our midfielders over the past 2 or 3 years. He is somebody who really wants his midfielders at Barcelona to be able to play in different areas on the pitch. So for example, this is the reason why Marc Casadó is very comfortable playing as a 6 and also playing as a 10, because he could. Obviously, he's not the best in the world in each of those positions, but he is a decent 8 out of 9. He does the job. Same thing can be said with Frenkie de Jong. We have seen Frenkie de Jong in the double pivot position and also play as a 10 earlier this year. This is what Thiago Alcantara is teaching. The same thing can also be said with Gavi. Gavi plays as a 6. Sometimes he gets placed between Rafinha and Lamine Yamal. Pedri as well. Sometimes there is occasions where he gets out of his position as a 6 and goes into the number 10 areas and filter the ball to look for assists, to look for goals, and that is why he is looking much better in the final third and why he's able to score many more goals. He's more daring. Thiago Alcantara does not want our midfielders to be so stagnant, to be like, okay, because I'm a 6, I'm only going to do plays that a number 6 should do. No, he wants you to be versatile. Be able to say, okay, if one of our players in the number 10 position is injured, I want a number 6 to go there and play there and do their job and maintain our level of creativity. I wouldn't even be surprised, and we have seen this before, if Marc Bernal plays as a 10 in case we ever go through like an injury crisis. He has played as a 10 before. He has the capability. Obviously, 99% of the time he'll be as a 6, but Thiago Alcantara will train all players to be ready for those situations. So all in all, Barcelona aim to bounce back after the Rayo Vallecano draw. Yes, we have key injuries like Gavi, like Balde, like Frenkie, but Flick can rely on players like Casadó, Pedri, Olmo to run the midfield. I also expect a huge game coming from Ferran Torres. Ferran Torres has been phenomenal as a number 9, excellent, and taking care of Lewandowski's absence. My final prediction for this match is going to be a 4-1 win for FC Barcelona. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.